Well, continuing our talk here with Eric Holmes of Unite Union, and I really want to talk now about the day itself. Tell me exactly what you've told people to do. I'm thinking about people who are on a bus and it hits 1 o'clock. What will happen at that point?
Right. Just to correct you, Paul, we do not tell the stewards what to do. The stewards actually decided on the action. Myself and Bobby are just there to facilitate the meeting, to make sure that anything is done lawfully, and that's all. The decisions are made by the branch secretary and the stewards with the help of the workforce.
You must have been talking about it though. I mean, do you know what will happen at 1 o'clock? Will the bus stop in the middle of somewhere and just empty passengers off, or will it continue to finish its route?
No, it will not continue to finish its route. That was something that we did look at until the attitude of Mr. Longworth when he came back in alone after the meeting.
So a bus won't start that particular service. I'm just trying to get in the minds of people who are trying to think about buses and what they should do on Thursday.
The only thing I can tell you, Paul, is the fact that from 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock on Thursday, that bus will cease trading.
So people shouldn't get on a bus I think Ramsey is one of those things, it's meant to get in about 1 o'clock or whatever, but it could end up in just Glenmona or something if it hits 1 o'clock.
These are difficulties that are now faced by the employer in his rerouting of things. Obviously, we would tell people, I'd expect the drivers to tell people, listen, this bus isn't going to make it all the way to your destination. We can take you so far, but at 1 o'clock the bus will be stopped and emptied. And then it's up to the employer, because the employer hasn't told us. They said they've got contingency plans. Basically, we'll say, your bus is such and such a place.
Okay, so I think you made it very clear. A bus will stop at 1 o'clock wherever it is, and the driver will ask passengers to get off, and then somebody somewhere has to make arrangements to pick those people up and carry on.
Yeah. Now, the employer has said that he's quite happy to do that. So that's the way it will happen.
Have you got public support? I mean, these sort of things don't play well, do they, when you say it like this?
No, but what you've got to remember is the fact that we've never really had the public support, because the public's never had the full picture. Let's just break it back down. Would you or anybody else be quite happy to just be told, we're having a tough time, we've mismanaged this, that and the other, we're taking £3,000 out of your earnings through no fault of your own. We're going to breach your contract and take money off you.
Is there a way you can now get the public on side? Or, I mean, don't you need the public support somewhere along the lines here? Because if you haven't got it, the government will feel quite secure in what the action they're taking.
All I can say to the public is that you will be next. Anybody that's working will be next, because if this actually goes across through the public sector, and it'll go straight through the private sector, that it's actually okay to just say to someone, I'm taking a large proportion of your income away from you. Now, people who are involved in this action, bank managers are already writing to them saying that they're concerned that their mortgage payments are not going to be met. That's how serious this is. So people do have to fight for it. And that's all it is. This is a legitimate fight to say, listen, there's ways of doing things and there's ways of not doing things, and the way this has been handled has been disgraceful from day one.
Any dispute like this has to have a solution eventually. I mean, obviously, short term, you are going to bring out the drivers again and again and again. I mean, you've made that pretty well clear now.
Yes.
That's your plan of action, is it not?
That's the plan of action of Bobby, yes. Bobby is the man who's experienced. He's the National Transport Manager, the National Transport Organiser for Unite, and this is the way he's going.
And is it half days every week or something?
I couldn't tell you, Paul.
No.
I couldn't tell you. I do not make those decisions.
But back to where I was going with the question was, there has to be a resolution to this at some point.
Yeah, it's called arbitration. It's called binding arbitration. And what Mr. Black has failed to realise is, to go to binding arbitration, you have to have terms of reference that are agreed by both sides. We're actually talking about the principle of going to arbitration. We haven't got into the nitty-gritty yet, because once you've said, OK, we'll go to arbitration, then you need to decide what are the two terms of reference that you're actually applying for. We've not got to that stage. We've just been told, no, 300,000, can't do it.
And you don't believe the bus drivers will give up that paid lunch break?
They certainly seem to be quite adamant that they will continue.